Hey there, EPS. This is John McKenzie, or John the Traveler, and I am originally from Kansas, a small town in northeastern Kansas, but I live in the Washington, D.C. area right now for the past 26 years, and I just got back from country number 78. So I'm self-employed, and I have a couple different jobs. I have some clients that I help small businesses with their finance and operations, grant management, invoicing, stuff like that. But really, I'm starting to offer group trips to various destinations. Right now, I just started last year, and we've been to Mexico City, Washington D.C. because I live here. We're going to be going to Montreal this coming September and El Salvador in the fall. So that is the plan, to keep doing that. I also had quit my job and had a lot of savings that I just tried to maximize, and I do a lot of different types of travel styles to either maximize what I have or just do as much travel as possible with whatever means I have at the time. So because I work for myself, I do have a lot more flexibility in theory, but I also have a lot of other responsibilities. I have some aging family members. I have a mortgage. So I really just try to look at windows of time on the calendar of when I'm able to go and kind of research where can I go in that amount of time. Look at the weather, all sorts of different factors to kind of see what I can do to either maximize the number of places that I can visit, or if it's a place that I really want to deep dive into, I'll try to just focus on that. So it really just depends, but I do try to have a lot of different types of trips. Last year, I had 8 different, very distinctly different styles of trips, and I just like to mix it up a lot to try to, just keep both the number of places that I visit to be new and refreshing, but also just the style, because I always learn something each trip. So I had a stamp collection, you might be able to see it behind me there, since I was about 6 years old. And I'm an only child. I spent a lot of time looking at the stamp collection, maps, atlases, a total geography nerd, and just the thought of going to the places didn't really hit me until much later. But because I know and am familiar with all of those places that have stamps or used to issue stamps, that's really what got me into the whole idea of it. That and pure curiosity, which is really my whole mission. So there's no place that I wouldn't go. There's places that I would prefer to go over others or may not return to because there's so many places to go, but really the curiosity keeps me going. Well, like many of us, a favorite country is not really something I like to proclaim, but because it's a very common question, I will say that for this group, I'm going to say Tajikistan, because for me that was such an adventurous trip. I spent a month there in 2008, and every day was just a crazy adventure. And at the time, it was a little scary maybe sometimes, but it was actually a lot of fun, and it just gave me a new meaning of what travel could be. The other conventional answer that I usually tell people is Peru, just because it has so much to offer between the sites, the people, the language, the culture, and just so many different climate regions, you name it. It's pretty much got it all. So I'll say both of those. Least favorite country. I don't really like to say this because I don't really have a least favorite country, but obviously there are some that stand out more than others. I will probably say that if I had to pick one place that I've been to that I don't necessarily need to go back to, it would probably be Brunei. Sorry, Brunei. I didn't get to see that much of it, but I feel like I've seen enough. But I certainly would still go back if I had the opportunity. So don't really have a least favorite country in the standard sense. Well, some of the most memorable times on my travels, I'll have to go back to, say, Tajikistan, just because there were so many examples of crazy stories that just about every day. So just one example, I was couch surfing in Khojan in the north, and the guy that was hosting me said, well, do you want to go run an errand with me, or do you want to hang out here and I'll be back later? I said, well, I'll go with you. Well, the entire rest of the day was spent trying to go find medicine for his uncle and then delivering it to a town that was 2 hours one way away from there. And then we met his friends and we went out, and it was just like this crazy adventure. I don't think we got back until 3 in the morning. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't just stay in his apartment. I've probably had some scary moments, or at the time, especially when I first started traveling, I was a little bit unsure of what to expect. But I will say that I did have my phone stolen, and I also got scammed. It kind of happened in the same region in the Horn of Africa, but uh, you know, it was really, really bad at the time, but I didn't feel as scared as it was just inconvenient and very disappointing that I lost a lot of money. Some other people also lost money, so I felt bad about that, and it just really caused a lot of stress. But I never felt unsafe, and I've been pretty lucky in terms of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's probably the worst that's ever happened to me so far. But I realize it's 78 countries. there's a potential. The best food. Well, Turkey has some of the best food that I've had. I think I was there for 2 weeks before I realized I have only been eating Turkish food, because every city I was going to had a different specialty and I just really liked it. But I will also give a shout out to Sicily, because that was very surprising when I went there. I expected to see, some new food, but I thought I would be familiar with a lot of the menu items, and I was not. There was so much that I'd never even heard of and never tried, and the flavors were so good. I really, really liked Sicilian food. But there's so much food. I definitely like to spend my energy and time and money on eating out when I travel. So that's a huge part of what I do when I travel. So it's hard to pick just one or two. If I had to pick a place that everybody should travel once in their life, I will probably not pick a specific place, because it really just depends on where you're from. But I would say picking a country that is as different as possible within your comfort level at the time. So for me, I really went out on a limb. The first big trip that I took, I went to Eastern Europe, but I had read enough about it, and I felt like that was going to be exotic enough without being completely risky or dangerous. And yeah, definitely learned a lot. There was, the culture shock, the elements of things, especially having never really traveled before at the time. So just go to a place where it's different from your culture, but yet accessible enough that you'll actually go. So right now, I do want to travel to every country, but I've always wanted to travel everywhere. I just didn't have a community behind it, or knew that there was a whole thing about people who make it a mission to travel to every country. So it's definitely inspired me to make more of an effort to try to get to more places and to go to some of the places that maybe I was a little nervous about before. But yeah, I do want to go to all the UN countries, but also I have a long list of countries, places that issue stamps or that used to issue stamps. But the priority is going to be countries and territories. If I could pick one place to live, I would probably pick Mexico, because of most of the places that I've been. It just has the best combination of exotic and yet familiar, and I love the food and the people. And there's just every city I've ever been to is just amazing, even places that I'd never heard of before. So I think Mexico would fit that bill for sure. Well, I would look forward to just keeping on traveling to as many places as possible, increasing my experience, especially to the more the more risky places, the more out there places, more difficult places, and someday, hopefully, North Korea will open up. I know not a good time right now for American citizens, but I just hope that someday I'll be able to see every place that's on my list. So just don't want to have too many expectations about it, and just keep traveling as much as possible and enjoying the journey. So when I was in Armenia, actually at the Extraordinary Travel Festival in 2022, after that I traveled around the country, rented a car, and then I decided I would like to try to hitchhike. I had picked up some hitchhikers and had a good experience, so I wanted to be on the other end of that. And sure enough, after 10 minutes, this family picked me up, this guy and his two kids, and he was Google translating with one hand and driving with the other while we kind of chatted on the way back towards where he lived. And then, because we were having this conversation, he invited me to come to his house and have lunch. And so his wife cooked this amazing meal. I got to hang out with his family. His daughter gave me a little present. It was just such a cool experience. And then he drove me to my hotel later, and it was just such a great little travel experience that sums up kind of what can happen when you're curious and open to going anywhere. So now that I am self-employed and trying to do more travel, my ultimate mission really is to get people to be more curious, because there's so many people that are not necessarily like us and want to travel everywhere, but just they're afraid, or they're just have not used their curiosity. And I'm trying to get people to be more curious about just life in general. But I think travel is one of the best ways to do that, because you always learn so much about different places and culture, and even yourself as you travel. And so that's kind of my mission right now. If anyone wants to help spread the word on that, you can find me on John the Curious Traveler on both Instagram and Facebook. And my website is johnthetraveler.com. And yeah, please consider coming to a Curiosity trip, or let people know that I'm offering those. But really, just I hope to meet more of you and travel with you. And I've had such good experiences so far at the Extraordinary Travel Festivals, and then taking tours and meeting some people from the community. And I really am very, very appreciative of everything that this community's provided, and even just reading the trip reports of places that I'm probably not going to go to for a while, but I love it. So keep it coming, and always be curious. Catch you later. Thanks a lot.